Okay, perfect. So thank you guys for tuning in. To be completely honest, we had a guest speaker for tonight, and she had to reschedule for later on in the month. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what's a good topic? What's a good topic? What's a good topic? And I had a recent call with Ruth and Jen Hawkins and one of Ruth's huge potentials. And we got to talking, and I was a little quiet on the side, just letting Jen kind of run it because she's the mecca. She's the number 2 earner in the whole company. And she, one of the Ruth's potentials started asking Jen questions. And one of the questions that she asked Jen was, so how many people have you personally sponsored? And, thinking Jen, double diamond, you're thinking this astronomical number. And her first answer was, well, on my first position team, which, she re-entered herself as a diamond again, but on her first position team, she personally sponsored 46 people. And so I was sitting there thinking, like, oh my gosh, this is our second top earner. And and 46 people is a lot, but you're thinking like thousands, And then in her second position team, when she re-entered herself, she personally sponsored 26. So it got me thinking. I went and looked back in my reports, and I'm like, I knew at one point I had gotten to 89, which over 4 years, it's a long time. You're talking to people constantly, and I've been really blessed that a lot of people have trusted me and have come along with me. But when I looked at the number, I was a little, I couldn't believe that it was at 124. So it got me really excited, but it also wanted me to do this call tonight to kind of put it into perspective, a couple different perspectives. So you're probably thinking like, oh my gosh, how am I not diamond if I've personally sponsored 124 people? Well, if you think about it, like Jen has personally sponsored a total of like 60 some odd, 70 people probably together. And she's the second top earner. So it kind of puts you into perspective that you do not have to do this all on your own. You're starting on your own. You get to silver on your own. And to be completely honest, you're going to probably build to gold all by yourself. And the jump from silver to gold is the hardest jump in this entire business. You'll hear that, and that's what they say. It takes sometimes the longest. For those of you that have gone like fast track, like props to you. I mean, that is huge. Adrian and Katie, you guys took off, and Kelly Mandel, right from the beginning, and that's awesome. And it can also be scary because you guys are like, you might not know what you're doing. You might not know, okay, I have all these people. How in the world can I do this? But that jump from silver to gold is huge. But you're doing it by yourself. But it goes to show, they say, and I didn't understand until I heard Jen say this number of the people that she's personally sponsored compared to maybe where I am, you only need 7 active level 1s duplicating the power of 3 over and over and over and over. If you have 7 active level 1s that are duplicating and doing it all the time, you can get to diamond. So that is kind of the perspective that I wanted to start this out with, because these are my tips that I'm going to give you tonight. I know that not all of you are like me. We all have different personalities. We all have different talents. We all have maybe different fears that we're trying to get pushed through. But this is what has worked for me. So you might be able to take bits and pieces and maybe tweak what hasn't worked for you. If you're doing something right now and you feel like you are at a plateau and you're stuck, change it up. There's nothing going to do damage to them except to maybe reward what you're doing to push you forward. So become unstuck. Try different ways. Think outside of the box. Do it afraid. But from the beginning, and I did a lot of reflecting over the last day or so just to kind of try to put everything together into like 10 bullets, because I wanted it to be very simple as far as, okay, here are 10 tips or 10 things that I have done to where I have hit this number. Now, not all 124 of my personally sponsored ambassadors are active. Not all of them are active at all. And not all of them are consistent on the products, and not all of them. And I think it's all a part of the learning curve. So, what I did in the very beginning is definitely not what I do now. I was looking back at my first why video. I think finding your story is huge and important. And I think sharing your story is huge and important. But looking back on my first why video, I had no energy at all. Like if I even was feeling energetic, which I know I was talking straight monotone. I shared my story, which was the main component, but I also started it out saying that Jen asked me to do this. So if I'm somebody watching this video and I see somebody just kind of like, and I'm taking Plexus because, and I was scared and it was something that was uncomfortable for me. And I'm really proud of myself that I did it. But looking back then, at that point I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. This is awesome. And now looking back, we're our own worst critics. But there's a lot of things that I've grown into and that I see all of you guys growing into. So you might want to take some time and look back to see how far you've come, because that's going to put a lot of things into perspective for you also. But I am not a master on social media at all. Like, I don't know. I mean, I might know the great times to post. I might know what might attract people, like have become better at attraction marketing, that they call it. Being creative, I might have learned a lot along the way. But the very beginning, I was a secret pink drinker. I know most of you that know my story know that. I didn't tell a soul. I started January 2014, and I didn't make my first post until June. And when I made my first post, I remember sitting in the guest room, and I don't know why I was in there, but it took me like 2 hours to write 3 sentences. And I remember hitting post, and I was so scared, and then shut my phone down, and sure enough, woke up the next morning to exactly what I was hoping wouldn't happen. My brother made a ridiculous comment on there. I had somebody ask if I got hacked. I had one of my other friends just put, oh my gosh, no, like this big. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so I was letting kind of that get to me. But the one thing that I will say before I go into these tips, I have showed up every single day. I have posted every single day. It might seem, if you're new or if you're still scared to do that, it might seem annoying. It's not annoying. And if it's annoying to the people that are gonna think it's annoying, they can hide you. They can, and that's not going to stop you. I mean, if somebody that you may not have talked to or know from 3rd grade hides you, they hide you. It's not going. The people that are going to support you and love you, regardless if they join you, are going to support you and love you. I have had multiple number, and this is probably one of the things that has kept me going. I've had multiple numbers of people, friends who have never joined me, who probably plan on never joining me, message and say, you are so positive, or I love seeing your posts come up in your newsfeed. In my newsfeed. I love it. Thank you for inspiring. Thank you for your messages. And I love that, because that is what I am trying to do, regardless if they ever join me or not. That's what I want to put out, because that's how I'm feeling. So you don't have to be a master of social media at all. I don't know any more people than the rest of you. It's about growing along the way, regardless of where you are, growing wide. And then eventually that wide grows deep. So I think maybe for me, I talk to a lot of people when I'm out and about, when I'm at the grocery store, when I'm at Sophie's school. I just happen to talk to a lot of people all of the time. And I have probably heard no more times than a lot of you guys. I've probably maybe talked to a lot more people because I've been doing it longer. That's the thing. And it doesn't have to be. Some people start out really, really quickly, but it's all about how many people you're reaching out to. And in the very beginning, I felt lucky, because I felt like when I did start posting and when I was starting to share my story, I felt like a lot of people were coming out, and people I've never talked to were messaging me all the time. And I built my customer base huge at first. It was big. And then it plummeted, and then it went back up. So it's an entire roller coaster, and it's not rocket science, but it's things of being accountable, showing up, posting. It's not all about social media, but that sure does help. That tool is just absolutely huge. And if we're not taking advantage of it, we're missing the boat. We're missing the big picture. I've been defriended. I've been refriended. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. I have refriended people who've defriended me, because now I'm like, well, this is, no, you're not, I mean, yes, can they unfriend me? Absolutely. But I'm going to refriend them back and just say, hey, we got disconnected, weird. And, maybe I'll get unfriended again, but take the high road. Be confident in what you have. Be confident in what you're doing and what you're sharing, because that's what people can see through. And if they don't see the confidence, they're not going to be confident in you to trust you. So keep that close to you. So the first, I'll go through these. I have 10 little bullets and then an example. The first, if I would say, do not cap your potential. Do not cap your potential. You want to build equity in your audience. So if you have, what we call our warm market, your warm market, your family, your friends, your coworker, like the people that know and love you and support you. You may think that you're, like, if you've been here a while, you may think that you've completely tapped out your warm market. I'm still hearing from my warm market 4 years in, and they might not have ever liked anything, but don't think that you've tapped out your warm market, even if you feel like you've tapped out your warm market. They're just still watching and waiting. Everyone's on their own time schedule. But this is where the important part is of posting every day. But your warm market, if you guys have not made your list, I know it's so easy to just be scared of making that list, or just not enough time to make that list, and you're just maybe writing it on a post or something. Put that list down on a piece of paper. Start small, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, whatever it is, the number of people. Make that list. I thought, and I'm kind of going back, rewinding a little bit, but when those people started reaching out to me in the very beginning of my journey, I really felt like, I'm like, well, this is awesome. Like, this is all that I need to do. I'm just putting it out there. And it worked for a while, good couple months. And then it was crickets. And then, even though people were still watching, it was just one of those moments. I remember, I think it was a post that I saw of a person that I knew pretty well that had taken a picture of like a Big Gulp or something. It was a soda, something. And it made me want to reach out to them. And it was one of the first, I call it cold messages, but I knew her really well. So I was reaching out to somebody in my warm market. First time ever, because I promised myself, I'm like, I'm not going to be one of those people. I am not going to reach out to my friends. If they want to know, they can come to me. I'm putting it out there, and then I'm going to let them come in. That's not always going to work, because that will only take you so far. If you're wanting to go to the top, if you're wanting to build this as a legit business, to be your own CEO, you have got to be your own CEO. You have got to go out there and find people to tell them what you have, not to hunt them, not to be pushy, but to be persistent, and to just, because it starts to become hard to not talk, like to not be able to talk about it. You have to talk about it. It just becomes a part of you. So my first aha moment with that was, I reached out to her and I said, hey, I just saw your post. This is kind of coming out of left field, but I have been soda free for 2.5 years, and I would love to help you. And she responded and said, I'm so glad you reached out. Thank you for reaching out. I've been watching you. And so it kind of got me thinking, like, well, if she's been watching me, how many other people are watching me? So how have I not been able to do this? Like, how have I not thought about reaching out to people? And when you have the belief in these products and what we have and the opportunity, that feeling of bothering somebody is out the window. It's gone, because you're not bothering them. You're telling them, you're offering them what you have. And if they decide to take it, that is amazing and awesome. And you're so excited for them. And if they decide not to, maybe in our minds, we're like, how can you not do this? But you're going to emotionally detach yourself. You're not going to hold yourself to that outcome because you can't control it. You can control what you put out there, but you can't control how they react or respond to it. So I challenge you to, for your warm market, expose them right away. Expose them right away. You don't have to, we talk about cultivating relationships and, but for those people that love you and support you and know you so well, you don't have to send them a message and say, like, how was your vacation? Like they know you, they love you, they support you. If you expose them right away, I mean, you can pretty much tell them, here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing it, and here's why I think you need to do it. And that can just be as direct. And it doesn't have to be this huge, long, drawn out. But that has worked for me. When I first started sharing, I went silver pretty quickly because it was my mom. She joined me just to be supportive. Carly, who's on here, who I basically forced down her throat 7 packets, which I don't recommend doing, but I'm so thankful that I did that to her because I knew how much she would benefit from it. So you have those people in your life that you love and care about. You have permission to do that, to go over to their house and basically just stand there until they drink it. And then I think it was one of my best friends from kindergarten, Ian, who joined me. So I went silver pretty quickly. Warm market. But sometimes your warm market can be the most challenging. Like I know that Celeste, I'm still mind blown at this. Celeste Gwen, Jen's level 1, who's the top earner, she has not one other Gwen on her team. Not one. And she has like over half the company on her team. So that is mind blowing to me. That's her family. And she did a video saying like, however many Lexuses she has, however many millions of dollars she's making, and this opportunity is legit, her family's still skeptical. So you're gonna find that. You're gonna find people who are going to run with you. If you were eating dirt, they're gonna go eat dirt with you because you're doing it and you're influential and they love you and they want to do what you're doing because it looks cool and it looks fun and you're doing it. You're gonna have people that are gonna watch you forever. You're gonna have people who are gonna research. You're gonna have all these different types of people. But for the people that love and support you the most, don't cap your potential. Do not, build that equity by posting every day, by showing up every day, but also build that equity by reaching out to them and owning what you're doing and staying accountable and calling it out and saying, I found this, like, you give me your credit card. Like, you're doing this with me. Or I want you on my team. I want to be at convention with you. I want you to come to leaders retreat. I don't want to do this another day without you. So if you have not taken advantage with your warm market, do it. You have nothing to lose. I mean, obviously, for most of you that are here, have been posting for quite some time. Some people might know that you love it, but they might not have any idea why you love it. They might not have any idea what it does, what it can do. I mean, there's a lot of things. Network marketing has exploded, especially since the time I started back in 2014. There were not nearly as many things that people were sharing or selling on social media. What is going to set you apart from making somebody scrolling to stop and to read what it is that you have and what it is that's going to make you different? They might think that they might love you, but they might think it's just the next diet fad out there and they don't have weight to lose, so they're not going to do it because it's called slim. Expose them to this. So that's my first tip. My second one is know your story. Know the strengths within your story. You might not feel like you have a compelling story. Dig deeper and define that compelling story. I don't care if that's like, I started because I needed more energy. Do you know how many millions of people need more energy? How many millions of people are addicted to energy drinks? How they're going and spending a fortune at Starbucks, those 5-hour energies, the crashes that they have at work. That can be such a huge story. I just did a live video the other day, and I had somebody from high school who I probably haven't talked to since high school on this video, and put something like, like high school girl giddy happy. Oh my God. And I totally take that as a compliment, but it's like little things that you can find that you have been able to give up, the freedom of what these products have done. Know your story and share why, the reason it is that you're here. I wanted to tell, Annette, she is so amazing. I don't know if she's on here tonight or not. I don't think she is. Annette quit smoking after 30 years. Annette needs to shout that from the rooftops. People need to know that. People are struggling with things like that. So people know, and I told Annette, I'm like, she is so happy. She loves every day. Like, I love Monday. It's Tuesday. Oh my gosh, it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And I said, people need to know where that's coming from. People need to know that why you're loving every single day of the week. So know the strengths, know why you're here, and be able to share that with other people. So that's number 2. Number 3, lead with vulnerability. So what I mean by that is try to not post graphics. Graphics are good and they're educational, but when you're leading with vulnerability, once you know your story, I had put up a picture before, and this is something, you guys, I hated putting pictures of myself up on Facebook. I thought it was so ridiculous.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, here, I just put a picture up of myself after a colonoscopy with bloodshot eyes, and then did some words about how thankful I was that I was no longer in that situation. I've seen ambassadors put pictures, and sounds like crazy, but if you're using social media as a tool and you want people to be vulnerable with you, to open up to their health problems, you bet yourself that you have to be vulnerable to them if you want that in return. So I've seen ambassadors put a picture of like their white coated tongue from yeast overgrowth. I mean, and that might seem like completely out of spectrum of like what you would ever do. I'm not saying to take a picture of your tongue and go put it out there, but I'm saying as an example, that's going to light a fire in someone that's thinking like, oh my gosh, if that helped her, that could absolutely help me. So be vulnerable. If you're going to put yourself out there anyway on through the power of social media or through your friends, if you want to take a picture and send it in a private message, like to someone, like be vulnerable. That's where you're going to gain not only equity, but that emotional equity. I remember my mom saying, she called me one time and she's like, you think you might post too much? Like, do you think that I post too much? And she's like, a little bit. I'm like, awesome, then it's working. Then I'm going to keep on going. Then I'm going to, post some more. So it's about just keeping your goal out there and just constantly dripping and being creative. And, people are going to not be annoyed. The people that are going to be supportive and that are going to be interested are going to be waiting for your next post. They're going to be waiting for your next story. So put personal things out there if you feel entitled to do so. I promise you that it will go such a long way and people will gravitate toward that. And if you're not comfortable yet putting personal things out on your page for the world to see, put them in private messages. Put them in, the power of the private message as well is huge. So just make sure that you're trying to be as vulnerable as possible if you want people to be vulnerable right back. I had Sophie's third grade teacher. She was terrified to even say the word poop, like with me, like terrified. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that word. And that's like little things, like we never had that relationship because I was always the parent. She was the teacher. And now it's like, once I'm vulnerable and I can relate and say, oh my gosh, I'm totally with you. This is what happened to me. This was my story. Then she was able to open back up, and you're going to build that confidence and build that trust. Number 4, keep focus on your person. Make the person you're talking to feel like they're the only ones in the room. Make them feel that you are listening to them. Focus on them. Don't immediately share your why. Don't immediately say, well, this is what it's done for me, like immediately. I mean, if they ask you, that's perfect, but you want to focus it on them. Tell me about your health problems. Tell me about what you hope to find that these products can fix. Maybe Google gut health and whatever they're dealing with, find an article, send it to them. Keep that conversation and that focus on them, because that is going to go a really long way, and that's going to build a little bit more credibility with someone and that trust and that confidence, and you're going to start peeling those layers of that onion off of deep down of what they can help with, what you can help them with. So keep the focus on that person. Ask so many different types of questions. Find videos, do the research on the back end. I know it's extra work, but rather than just sending them your website to go and check out, be their guide. Be their health coach. We're not, not all of us are doctors or certified health coaches, but in their eyes we are, because we have the personal experience with the products. So just really focus and hone in on their needs and what they are looking for. And that's going to build a lot more credibility, and they're going to be more apt to join you. Number 5, don't overanalyze the Facebook message bubble. How many of you guys do that? Because I used to do it all the time, and I can't even lie and said that I don't. It's a lot of practice not to overanalyze that. What I mean is when you're sending somebody a message and all of a sudden you see that bubble move and they've read it, and you keep going and checking and checking and checking. Have they written me back? Are they going to write me back? We don't know where people are. We don't know if it's a money issue. We don't know if they're busy. We just don't know where they are. We don't know if they went to read it and then they forgot about it. Now it's lost because they've gotten like 12 other messages. Don't overanalyze it, but don't write them off either.
like I said before, we're responsible for the effort, but not the outcome. We are responsible for sharing, for putting effort out there, not the outcome. We don't know what the outcome's going to be, but we know that what efforts that we've made. And until they say, leave me alone, keep following up, and keep reaching out. And I wanted to use this as an example, and I'm smiling because Katie knows that I pulled this off of our conversations, but this is like mind blowing to me, you guys. When I say like, keep following up, don't take the first time somebody says that maybe they're not interested or not, it's not for them as the first time, because you could have a rock star like Katie Rice, because I have all of our messages detailed right here on this piece of paper. I went through my phone back from 2014, and this is an example of what I mean when I say be persistent but not pushy. April 6, 2014, Katie reached out to me asking about Plexus. April 12th, and this is back when I first started, so I really didn't know what I was doing, and obviously 6 days went by until I answered her. April 12th, I responded to her, gave her some information. Silence. July 2014, I checked in with her. December 2014, I checked in with her. Still, that button, still, that Facebook bubble, still there. I knew she read it. Nothing. March of 2015, she reached out to me asking about Plexus for a friend. March 23rd, 2015, I responded to her. August 2nd, I checked in. January 28th, I checked in. So this is months and months and months, you guys. January 30th, she wrote me, I'm interested, sign me up. February 2nd, 2016, I checked in. February 5th, I checked in. This is back in 2016. February 8th, I followed up again. February 29th, 2016, I got a message from her that said, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this. I started another cleanse. Thanks so much. And June 6th of this past year, I sent her information on a 7-day trial challenge that we had coming up. She asked questions. December 30th of this year, she reached out. She's interested. She joined. Now she is gold or silver on her way to gold. So I'm telling you, this is just an example of do not discredit, do not write off, I obviously wasn't going to stalk her for years and years and years and years, but I could have easily taken that. One of the first messages I forgot to say that she had said, I'm going to stick to good old diet and exercise. It's not something, it's kind of costly, which a lot of people think that. So I could have taken that and been like, and I think I responded, this is when I was new. I was like, oh, thanks. No worries. Thanks. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't, so it's like you're learning along the way, but it's just an eye-opening example of what I would say to just keep being persistent, which is my next bullet, but not pushy. If you genuinely care, if you're genuine about this, people need that nudge. Think about how long you watched. Think about how long maybe the rock star on your team watched. Think about, how many times Celeste said, I think Jen reached out to Celeste 27 times. 27 times. So it just goes to show you this is not rocket science. This is simple effort, reaching out, putting yourself out there, and always checking in, never discrediting someone's own timetable. So that's be persistent and not pushy. So Katie, thanks for letting me use that example. I love it. I was like looking through, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a good example and so crazy. Number 7, be your brand. Like I said before, people are selling so many things and sharing, and we're different because we're sharing, we're genuinely wanting, we're in need and not a want. So people are constantly putting themselves out there with ads and all these things. Facebook's getting jumbled, which is why not to only solely depend on social media, but make sure you're putting in there what people are looking forward to seeing in your newsfeed. Things that are inspirational quotes, things that you're incorporating your family in. Find things around the house. It's going to sound weird, but you can look around your house and find something that would be like, oh my gosh, this is great. If you haven't cleaned out your medicine cabinet and you have expired medicine, go live, clean your medicine cabinet out, or else take a picture of yourself holding all the medication that's expired. Those are powerful posts that people will see, powerful messages that people will see. So be your brand. Don't be someone who is, I'm not saying that you can't have a bad day or negative or anything of that sort, but just know that you're your own storefront. People are watching you and they're seeing you and they want to do what you do because we're the health and happiness company. So that's what they're wanting to see. But we also just want to reflect of what the message we're trying to put out there. Number 8, samples. I have like 5 exclamation points to that. Now I will say, I know that samples are not cheap, you guys. Each pink packet is around $2.50. I have sent out a ton of those, and I have been burned before in the past. Every month I try to buy an extra bag of Slim so that I can have that for samples. And I send quite a few out. Normally my way is to, if somebody messages me, I will message them right back and say, what's your address? I'd love to put a sample in the mail. But I will tell you that samples do go a long way. And you might be thinking like, why one sample, what is that going to do? Well, it's going to show them what it tastes like, delicious. And it's going to show them how easy it is to use. And now that we have our big 7-day challenges on our team, you're going to have a reason to follow up with them and say, I know you loved the taste of this drink. Starting on such and such date, we're doing this 7-day trial. Are you interested? Let me know if you're in. They're going to be more apt if they have something in their hands to sample it. Now, some people don't need a sample. Some people just want to just jump off that ledge and start the 60 days, whatever, right away. But some people, it's really important. Now, you're going to have those people you send a sample to, and you're going to message them and message them and message them, and it's going to sit there and sit there and sit there, and you're going to get messages, oh, I still haven't tried it. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I hurried to the post office and I put this in the envelope just to get it there, and I haven't tried it yet. Or some people, and I'm going to use, I don't think Marty's on. I don't think she's on. I sent Marty lost her first sample, and I think it just kind of got thrown away, maybe. And so I asked her if I could send her a second one. Now, this is where I say, those people are far and few between, but some of the great leaders on our team, like Marty, I had to send her 2 samples because the first one that I don't know what happened to it, but I believed in her, and I believed in the possibility of that she needed these products, but also what she could do if she joined me. And so I sent her a second one. So some of you might want to be strategic with the samples if you don't have, it is a cost investment, but the return of investment after somebody gets a sample in their hands, for me, it's been kind of a no-brainer. That's really what changed as far as my customer base, because especially people are going to, if they like the Slim, then they might just want to start with the Slim, but that's a great way to add to your preferred customer base. So I would and always carry them around in your purse all the time. I had met someone in a parking lot on the Swap and Sell site because I was giving away children's books. And I knew she was a mom, and I knew she didn't know me. We just messaged back and forth because she wanted the books that I had. And as we were getting ready to leave the parking lot, I was like, I already had it up in a card, and I'm like, mom to mom, I handed her. Are you on Facebook? Sure. Yes. Got her on my contact list. So it's just little things like that where you find yourself in situations, have samples ready to give them out. Those can go such a long way. They've really, really, really worked for me. But you have to find out if they're going to really work for you. Maybe you can test it out. Take a picture of 7 samples, 5 samples, put it up on Facebook and say the next 5 people that comment below, they're coming out. And you might see your comments blow up. And the people that maybe the first 5 people, maybe it goes to 12 people deep. If you want it to work for you, I would recommend sending all those people samples, or else sending them information on the 7-day challenge that we have coming up. But that's building your potential list. Number 9, tap into your preferred customer base. So if you guys are here and you guys have customers, if you guys have any preferred customers, and I know preferred customers are so great because they're our customers, and sometimes those customers turn into the best ambassadors, and they keep our PV going. They keep our income going up, and they also give us a reason to keep on sharing and to keep believing. But tap into those preferred customers. If you have someone who is taking over 100 PV in products for months and months and months, reach out to them to upgrade them, and then have a goal to once you upgrade them to be an ambassador, have a goal to take that and fill that spot with a new customer. That's working systematically and working strategically, but tap into your preferred customer base. Let them know, hey, I love that you're loving these products, but I would love to save you money every single month. You're doing them a disservice if you don't reach out and ask them for that possibility. So tap into your customer base and also work systematically. Know your goals. If you're newer, your first goal, a great first goal would be to get 2 preferred customers. That would cover the cost of your products. And then a second great goal would be to get 3 ambassadors, which would make you a silver ambassador with your first rank. And once you have that goal, set those systematically. Be a competition to yourself. Go at your own pace, but also keep on thinking, try to strive to go silver every single month. I think that's, huge and important to just strive. Once you have that goal set in place, make that goal. And if you want to double it for the next month, double it for the next month. But just have those goals set in place, because if you have this gigantic goal of going ruby, senior ruby, emerald, diamond, that's amazing. And that will happen for you. But you have to set those smaller goals on how get yourself there. I always love to mention the Post-it notes. So whatever rank you are right now, take Post-it notes, put them on your wall, put them on your mirror in your office, and write each name of your ambassador on your team on a Post-it note. Each name, 1 Post-it note per name. And then for the next rank that you want to be, put that number of Post-it notes for the number of points. So each ambassador is worth 5 points. So if you're silver, okay, and you have 3 Post-it notes and 3 ambassadors, it takes 20 people to go gold. So you're going to have 3 pieces of paper with your silver, and then you're going to have 17 blank Post-it notes. Okay. So it's 20 people. So just an idea, more of a visual, because if you're thinking about building your team, it's a lot easier to see it from a person perspective. Each piece of paper is a person, and a person who you're going to change their life. So it's a lot easier to see it from that perspective rather than a points perspective. It becomes more relationship focused when you're looking at the names on those pieces of paper rather than trying to do a mathematical equation on points. So the last one is, sorry I'm keeping you guys a little longer, is don't compare yourself to anybody else. This is the biggest joy stealer. I did this in the very beginning. One of my really good friends that worked with Jen and I, Kate Owen, she and I started at the same time, and she flew to Emerald, flew. And I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? All I did was just negative on what I was doing, when really I was building my own business at my own pace, and I was moving forward every single day. I just was letting her success dictate on how not great of a job that I was doing. So don't compare yourself to other people. We are all on the same playing field. We are all in the same position. We all have the same opportunity. And it's just a matter of how much you show up, how many people you talk to, and how many no's you're going to try to go after. And that's really as simple as it is. And doing those daily IPA sheets, making your list, those daily IPA sheets will absolutely change your business. If you give it 20 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, if you do those sheets and you make that a priority, just like you do brushing your teeth, do those IPA sheets, and they're going to change your business if this is where you want to take it. So I just would say, don't compare yourself to any other journey. You're going to find yourself, those of you that are going to convention, or those of you that are watching diamond documentaries, there's absolutely no reason why that's not going to be you, why that can't be you. So don't compare yourself. This is your own story, your own pace. I can say that, 4 years in, I feel like we've built an absolutely phenomenal team. I feel like maybe my journey is a little bit slower than some people, but I would not change it for a second, because at the end of the day, I'm still moving into the direction that I want to go and still going after the goals that I want to do. And the days are going to pass anyway, and I'd be in the same situation that I was at my corporate job at my desk, which I still am, but able to do both. So I just keep your blinders on, stay focused. Don't let anybody get into your head, into your opinions. Their opinions are not going to change the outcome of what you're trying to do, because a year from now, that person's opinion is not going to mean anything to you. Your opinion is going to mean something to you. Your family's opinion is going to mean something to you. So be proud of what you have in front of you and what you're owning and what you're confident about. So that's what I have for tonight. Sorry I kept you guys. Do you guys have any, let me unmute you guys. Do you guys have any questions or anything that kind of hit home for you?
This was all really great. Thank you. No, it was great points. Awesome points.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's not like when I was putting my notes together, I'm like, I don't have like things that they may not have heard before, but just kind of things from different perspectives, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will hit on like our conversation that you talked about. And I think it's so funny because even as I was going through life, it gets difficult and you forget. Like I'll read a message and then forget all about it. So unless somebody's reminding you and it seems like you're annoying them, but really you go on with life and you forget about it. Mm-hmm. So unless somebody's asking you again or reminding you about it or in your face about it, then you forget.
Right. So
well,
I'm glad you said that. Did like from where I was coming from to you, like checking in. Did you ever feel like that was annoying, or were you just like,
no?
Okay, good. That's really great to hear. Because
the best part too, I think, is like once I was ready, then it made me feel comfortable coming to you.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like, you know, that you ever took it as like, oh, I was ignoring you, or I was like, well, I can't reach out to her because I didn't respond to her message. You know, like it was never that relationship. So it made it easy when I was ready to come to you.
That's a really good point. that I mean, as long as we kind of stay focused on that, then it's going to make following up with people and checking in a lot easier.
Right.
Thank you. Anybody else? Bootylicious?
Listen to you. I know. With my slicked back ponytail. Way to go, Adrienne. Making me get on the video.
Well, you look amazing. You're real. That's what, right? That's what Nicole was talking about. Being vulnerable and being real. So you're welcome.
So, yeah. Yeah, great call. Lots of really great takeaways. And, you know, I think one of the things, you know, I got something from everything you said, but, you know, one of the things I'm seeing now, like even with the 7-day challenge thing, is don't give up on people. Like every person in my 7-day challenge, like only one of them I've had a conversation with about ever before with Plexus. The rest of them never like or comment on a single one of my posts in 4 years. And now all of a sudden, like we had like, I'm exhausted. Like my face hurts from how many conversations I had today because like I intended them to be 10-minute conversations, but they had a lot to say. So every conversation was an hour. So, you know, just talking about life and whatnot and getting caught up. So people are watching and posting every day. You talked about that, Nicole, posting every single day. But you know what? Also, like being intentional with it, I think that's a huge difference because I used to post every single day on Facebook too. But then, like you said, sometimes you get lucky and you get some hits off of it or some customers right away from it. And then it goes to crickets and it falls off. Well, you can't just, you know, working your business doesn't just mean logging into Facebook and making a post every day. Like you got to be intentional with it, whether it's the content, the time of day, who your audience is. So you talked about that. And I think that's really helpful. So.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Intentional. I love it.
As far as the 7-day challenges go, and like you said, Nicole, the story you told about reaching out to the girl and she was like, thank you for reaching out to me, the one about soda. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way. Like, I think that some people, Facebook, I mean, we have like 800 friends. Obviously, we don't talk to them or see them or, you know, it's people that we haven't seen in years. But I've had a couple people also that were like, that I've reached out to about the 7-day challenge and they thanked me for reaching out to them because I think people are shy or like, mm-hmm. Oh, I haven't talked to her in forever. She's going to think I'm crazy if I just all of a sudden reach out to her about Plexus. So sometimes it takes us reaching out, I guess, to.
Oh, absolutely.
Get them involved.
And that's an example I have, like even from today, I'd reached out to someone about the Facebook or about the 7-day challenge and said, yes, I've been meaning, I really want to try it. You know, so it's like, but yeah, like people are kind of shy to reach out to you and that sometimes it takes you reaching out to them for it to trigger that, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing too, Nicole, you talked about vulnerability, and I think that's like absolutely huge. That's something that I do with my customers, and I noticed I didn't used to do that, and that's something I've been doing for the last year and a half or so, and it's really helped my businesses. Just being real with them and being like, I'm not comfortable enough, for example, for me to post on my wall about how my life is different now that my hips fit in a seat when I fly on an airplane. Like, I'm not comfortable enough with that, but I'm comfortable enough to be vulnerable and share that in a private message with somebody, you know, or even tonight when I was talking to a new customer right before the call, you know, she point blank asked me, what do you take? You know, do you ever struggle with consistency? And I was honest with her. I struggle with consistency with my Plexus Slim. I got everything else on lockdown. My other products, I never miss. Slim, I still struggle with. And I just told her, like, yeah, I don't always get to drink it 30 minutes before my meal. Sometimes I drink it 5 minutes before my meal. And that's not going to give me optimal results. I'll still get results. It's just not going to be optimal results, you know, and I'm just honest, like, yeah, that's one thing that I'm struggling with, you know, and I think that goes a long way because it also tells people, besides telling them that you're genuine and that you're real, it also lets them know that it's not a sales pitch, you know, because even our friends or family, even though they're related or they love us, they too sometimes are skeptical or feel like we're pitching them. And we're not pitching them anything, you know? And so I think that being vulnerable and all that goes a really long way.
Yeah. Well, and I so completely agree. And it goes to show that we're not perfect, you know, like nobody is perfect and people relate to imperfection.
And Plexus will work even if you don't do it perfectly.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think I just found another team name that I'm going to put on our contest.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just writing that down. So if I win $100, Adrian, I'm going to give you 50. Okay, got it.
I think that's a good point with the Slim. That's been my biggest thing, and is taking the Slim, which you think would be the easiest, but it's like trying to get it in 30 minutes before. So like when I first started, I would shake it up, drink it on my way to work. But then when I got to work, I wanted to eat my breakfast, and I'm like, oh, I got to wait 30 minutes. So now I just put in a little bit of water and just shoot it first thing in the morning and be done with it.
Yeah.
Just makes it easier.
Yep.
Right.
Good point.
Yes. This is awesome, you guys. Do you guys have anything else? Sorry, I kept you longer.
Quit writing down names. I want the $100.
I know. I'm just jotting them down. Not till tomorrow. There's a lot of good ones out there.
I'll make some fake names up and go vote on it.
That's funny. Anything else? Thank you guys for taking time out of your night to listen to my story.
It's awesome. Thanks,
you.
Nicole.
Thank you guys. I'll put this up and feel free to do what you want with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.